Can you teach me how to scale? Well, Grant Cardone says simple, just 10x that, right? But to me, it's about like looking at your business as a whole. Like, I look at it and I'm like, all right, what is the bottleneck, right? And you don't have five bottlenecks, you have one bottleneck, right? You have one thing in your business that you have to look at and like, what is slowing me down from exponential growth?
David, so I want to kind of start with a lot of people, they know you've built something powerful after starting over, but not everybody knows what really fueled that transformation. So, what changed for you when you stopped thinking like a salesperson and really started thinking like a business owner?
Yeah, so I think for me, I always thought like a business owner, right? The doesn't mean I don't you have to sell first, right? So I always thought like a business owner and like knew like that was the destination. That's where I was trying to go. But if you're in a sales business, the starting line for that is definitely being a salesperson and learning how to sell first and being able to understand the processes and systems that you're going to teach. Some people want to skip that part, and I think that's why people maybe don't make it that far down the road. But it's like really just like looking at like what was the destination. It was to be a business owner with total freedom, live where I want, do what I want. But it's like, all right, cool. So like, where's the starting point? What's the stops along the way? And then obviously, get lost and learn some things along the way, and maybe trade, set the course a little different, but ultimately get into that business owner freedom spot for me was super important.
Yeah. What would you say would be that part of your early hustle that you almost took out?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest one is like survival, right? So I grew up I guess I could say I had everything I needed, but we didn't have a lot of extra. And we were on welfare and government assistance and all those things. And my grandfather, he was a business owner, and when I went and visited him, it was like completely different world, right? So it was like that's all I knew was like welfare or business owner, single mom as a waitress or business owner. So for me, like it just always made sense to be a business owner because I didn't really understand anything else. And it doesn't mean I didn't work a bunch of jobs along the way, but I knew ultimately I wanted to be a business owner. So it's just about finding the right platform, finding the right systems, having the right knowledge and putting the right work. But for me, I always had big goals and big dreams and things that I wanted to do, and I wasn't gonna be able to do that, working as an employee. Matter of fact, I'm a horrible employee, right? I'm a horrible employee. I mean, I'll do the job, I'll get the job done, but like I always want to do more. I'm gonna annoy the heck out of you. I'm gonna be like, hey, we should fix this, we should change this, we should fix this. And now being a business owner, understand how annoying that probably is, when you have the employee telling you the business owner how things should be. But that was me. That was me as an employee. So as a business owner, it works out great. Get to have a lot of success. But as an employee, I annoy the heck out of everyone I worked with, probably.
Would you say that's probably one of the biggest things that is the difference between like an agent and an owner is that mindset piece?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, my business is insurance. We sell a lot of life insurance, and I hire a lot of insurance agents. I've hired over 5,000 agents over the years. So I have like a huge sample size of like what success looks like for the person and what the opposite of success looks like, right? Failure, I guess, right? It looks like. But ultimately it's being able to think like a business owner, being able to manage your own time, being able to think outside the box, not waiting for someone to tell you, what's the next thing you got to do, right? Being okay with making mistakes and failing, being okay with like putting in like all this effort and like not actually understanding if you're getting a return or if you got the return or like if you're not like looking for that immediate like, hey, I worked 40 hours this week, you're paying me $20 an hour, you owe me money, like, and this is exactly what you owe me, as opposed to, hey, I worked 80 hours this week and like this is what I made. Like I don't know what I made, or maybe I didn't get paid yet, right? So definitely two completely different people. But ultimately the business owners, high risk, high reward, and you have, your chance to, I would say like there's a good and bad about working for yourself, and that's that you work for yourself and you get to make your own hours. And for some people that's great. And for some people they don't get the job done because they don't show up to the job.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I would love to kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about systems. I mean, so many people talk about systems, but what you built actually works for new agents. Can you kind of walk us through how you made it so plug and play and where most people kind of overcomplicate things?
For me, I know I operate in simplicity, and I believe most people do. And I want to make things as simple, easy, and duplicatable as possible. And if you have a business, I don't care what the business is. And it's funny because I do every 5 weeks, I do a coaching for business owners. And I always ask them, like, what's the most important thing in your business? What's the most important thing that you have to get done? And they say marketing, and they say CRMs, and they say systems and product. Like they say all these different things. I'm like, create revenue. Like that's it. Like the most important thing for you to do as a business owner is create revenue. Like that's it. If if you're working on your CRM and you have nothing going on to create revenue, like put your CRM down and figure out how to create revenue, right? And typically to create revenue, it's talk to people, right? Prospect. There's different ways to do that. So for me, it was like, all right, how do I take an insurance agent, right? So somebody, let's just say someone brand new, like they like, hey, you know what? I want a new career. I want to work as an insurance agent. They get their insurance license. They have no real sales background. They have no insurance background. Like, how do I help this person make money, right? Because ultimately that's the goal. They didn't get their insurance license to say they had an insurance license. They want to make some money, and it's real simple. It's like get them on the phone with somebody that's interested in buying insurance, right? And so for me, that's like the most important job of mine is how do I help my agents get on the phone with people looking for insurance? So we create Google ads and Facebook ads. We do a lot of different types of marketing to create leads and to get these leads to call our agents. So now they're calling our agents, and it's simple. They fill out the application, an insurance application. It's kind of like going to a new doctor and doing that intake form, very, very similar. And you're helping them with this and going over the pricing, and you sign it. And I think anyone could really figure out that and that part. So the part is to have them talk to clients. So again, if you're a business owner and you need to create revenue, it's like you got to figure out like how do you talk to people that are interested in your products and services, and then like how to do more of that. So for me, like that was like what it's like, what's the system? The system is get my agents to do 5 presentations a day, 5 days a week. What does it take to do that? And it's really and of course we use CRMs and automations and dialers and all these tools, but ultimately it's create leads that are interested in our products.
Yeah. So I'm curious, you take that person that's super brand new, they want a new career, they want to, test out insurance and they're brand new. How do you go about teaching the confidence alongside the closing skills?
Yeah, so a lot of times I always look back at like myself, right? So a lot of times people want to do a lot of training and watch videos and study scripts and all this stuff. And all these things are great and obviously, very important. But for me, the most important thing is like just get started, right? Create some action because have you spoke on the phone before? You talked to someone on the phone before,
Yeah.
right? I think we all talk to people on the phone, right? So it's like literally you're on the phone with somebody, this person's interested in insurance, or she wouldn't be on the phone with them. So you got that part knocked out, which is really good, right? You're on the phone with somebody interested in buying your product, and then you're filling out an application, right? And the application might ask for their name. So real simple, hey, just confirm I spelled your name right. Is this the correct phone number? Is this the correct address? And you're just going through filling out all the application information, getting into some medications that they take, some health questions as well, right? So for me, like anyone can do that, right? But you said a really important word, confidence. How do you make that person more confident in doing it? How do we get more confident in walking, right?
Or
We walk more, right? But like think about when we were like that baby and we were trying to learn how to walk. Like we were like the best at that point because we just got up, tried, fell, got up, tried. Like we were like, oh my God, what if my mom laughs at me if I fall again? I'm just gonna quit walking, Or like, what if this doesn't work? Or what if walking's not for me, right? If we tried walking as adults, I feel like half of us wouldn't even walk. We would just be like, no, Walking just didn't work for me. I don't know what it is, and like half of us just population just wouldn't walk because we were like in this like grown up mind. But like when we were children, we just like did things until we were confident and got good at it. So same thing with sales. Like, so that's the thing. You want to get confident and get good at it. Now, once you start getting confident, once you start like making some sales, now that's when you go back and you refine your systems. That's when you go back and start hitting the training and learning more and learning how to close better, learning how to build rapport better, getting better at your script because now you have some knowledge. See, a lot of times people are trying to like learn before they know anything. And I've done that so many times, right? You want to start a new hobby, you buy all this stuff and you start learning about the hobby like, dude, I didn't need this, I didn't need this, I bought the wrong one of this. You once you have the knowledge, everything's different. So for me, it's like helping them start. We also have a virtual office. So right now it's on, probably have 60, 70 people all on a Zoom meeting, and they're all selling, right? So the cool thing about that is they got somebody right next to them that's willing to help them. They're listening to them. They'll coach them. If they're having some kind of tech issue, it's like, hey, share your screen. Oh, click that little button or press this. So just trying to build something where it's like a culture where like everyone's helping someone no matter where you're at, like you have help. I mean, we have agents that live out of the country that could work with us. So for me, it's all about getting people on the phone, making sure they have help immediately.
I love that. So, the ones that are winning with your system, why do you think they're the ones winning versus somebody who's not?
It's usually time, right? It's usually that they're putting in more time. So again, going back into like an employee versus a business owner, right? Employees got this like whole like I'm gonna start work at 9 o'clock, but then we don't really start at 9 o'clock because we're gonna drink coffee and like talk till 10, and then we'll probably start at like 10, and then 12 o'clock. We're gonna take an hour for lunch, and then we'll come back at 1 o'clock, and then we'll drink some coffee and talk and hang out for a little bit, maybe check some emails and do some other stuff that doesn't pay the bills or create revenue, and then it's 5 o'clock. We got to get going. Matter of fact, we want to beat traffic, so we'll leave at 4:30, even though I'm working from home, right? So like that's like that employee mindset where the business owner is like, all right, cool. David said get 5 presentations today, which means my day ends after my 5 presentations, right? So that could be at 4 o'clock, but that might also be at 9, 10 o'clock at night. So it's working towards to accomplish performance, right? Some tasks to get done versus looking at the time, right? Because we're not paid by time, we're paid by what we get done. We're paid by our performance. So it's those two different people. Now, some people are just really naturally good, right? So like you'll hear somebody on the phone just get started and they'll just be uncomfortable, right? They're just really uncomfortable. They're not talking like the person is like just lying to them and they're just going along with it. They're like, "Oh,
Mm,
yeah, could I call you back in like 10 minutes?" And like the person's not calling you back in 10 minutes, or they're just saying things that aren't even true. Or like you get to the end and they're just like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm gonna talk to my daughter about this before I spend $60 a month. And like, dude, you don't need to talk to your daughter before you spend $60 a month, right? But like if you're talking to like your grandma, or your mother, you'd be like, Mom, you don't have to talk to one and like just get this. You need it. This is why you filled it out. Just get it. So there's the people that aren't comfortable, and then you hear the people that are just super comfortable, right? And they're having a natural conversation with the person. They don't mind calling them out, being honest with them. Hey, do you mind if I'm honest with you? I don't really think you need to talk to your daughter before you spend $60 a month. I think your cable bill, I think you spend more on coffee a month. I don't think you're talking to anyone before you buy coffee, are you? At Starbucks? Like, I feel like there's something else stopping you from getting this. Like, what is it? What's on your mind? Is it not enough coverage? Did you want more coverage, or was the price too high? Or like, what is it that's really stopping you? I don't think your daughter
yeah.
has. There's no way in the world that you're gonna pass away and your daughter's gonna be like so mad at mom that you left $20,000 to her. Like that's not really a thing that's gonna happen. So I promise you, like it's not the daughter is gonna tell you, no, mom, you don't need this. And if they tell you they don't need it, it's for one important reason. They don't want to talk to you about you dying, right? That
Right.
that's going to be the problem. So it's just about that. And then, again, the only way you're going to get comfortable, so you're either going to start comfortable talking to the people, or you're going to do it over and over and over again until it's comfortable. And I'll listen. Like I'll listen to someone just so uncomfortable, and they'll make a few sales here and there. But then I start hearing when they start getting comfortable, and it's just like they'll make one, two, three sales every single day, because now they're just having regular conversations.
Yeah. Um, I'm curious, like, so when you're teaching your system to your new agents, is there a piece of it that just lights you up and that you just love teaching all the time?
My favorite thing is the success. We have we hire single moms, that might be servers, people in like retail, housewives, people that maybe were making 15, $20 an hour before. And then like all of a sudden they understand it, like, oh wow, like they get it. Like you just see it, like they're putting the extra hours, the extra time, because they might be bringing in, $1,000 a day now. And they understand it. And you see somebody, at the end of the year make over $100,000 when like, they're in their mid 30s and they thought that there's no way in the world they're ever going to make that kind of money. And then have the freedom of working when they want, right? Where, they're putting in the time, but then also too, when their daughter has something going on or ballet or whatever it is, like they could be there for them. So for me, like that's the thing I enjoy the most. So it's like when you see somebody like really understand, the kind of money and the kind of freedom that they could have with that's definitely my favorite part.
I love that. Okay. And you were talking earlier about how you also teach just regular business owners as well, or you have like a group that you do teaching in. Is that, did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, I coach in someone's mastermind. They have me
Oh,
do
gotcha.
a mindset. I think it's think like a business owner is the subject I teach on. So it's every 5 weeks. So they have different class that comes through there. It's virtual. But yeah, it's ultimately like, they're all business owners and just really having them understand, the difference, in investing in money and in your time and all those different things that people don't have it naturally, right? They want to be a business owner. They say they want to be a business owner, but like they don't understand like everything that comes along with it, or maybe not to the level that they need to understand it, or what they should be spending their time on. It's like, hey, they're trying to put like the best sign outside their door, right? It's like, I need this sign. It's gonna look amazing. It's gonna bring so many people into my place. Like, no, you know what brings people into place? Get on the phone and start calling people. Get
You
on the
mean
phone and start
the
calling
right
people.
color blue doesn't do it,
Yeah.
David?
Well, yeah, according to this book I read, there's a very special shade of blue that will immediately there'll be a people line at the door of people that want to buy my products.
So why, like, what's the legacy? What is the game plan? What does the next steps look like for you, whether it's with the agency or just in general in business for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I started multiple companies, so I own the lead company that I have. I just got into the Medicare business as well, which it falls under life insurance, but it's completely different. My life insurance business is doing well. Also getting ready to start a funeral concierge business. So like a lot of businesses that will continue to feed the same one. But it's funny because I was talking to somebody yesterday, and who was someone that we both know. They just sold their business for 100, their insurance business for $100 million, and I was like, geez, I was like, what would I do, right? So like I think about that, and I think about like what would that look like? What would make me want to sell? And then I think about like time period. So I just turned 45, so I'm like, all right. So like in my head, I'm like, let me just sprint till I'm 50. Let me sprint till I'm 50. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do once I'm 50, but it's like let me see what I can accomplish till I'm 50. And then probably travel a lot more. I've been looking at the sailing catamarans.
Oh
Now I'm starting to see a lot more of those in my Instagram as well. So I think that's kind of cool. I mean, I could see them right out my window. I got a marina right outside my window. So I got like a vision board. I see we have a private airport right there, so I see private planes flying past my window as we're talking and that. So, but yeah, I think traveling a lot more. But like traveling and seeing agents, I like to me, it's about building a business that isn't work, right? Building a
yeah.
business that isn't work. The people I work with, I enjoy working with them. We have a lot of fun together. We've been to Mexico, Dominican Republic. Sometimes on my birthday, what I'll do is, hey, I'm going to be here on my birthday. Anyone wants to join, and I'll put out to hundreds of people. This is the hotel or resort I'll be at. So we had like 30 people in Dallas just recently. So really it's just like, to me is building this culture, where we are making good money, where we do have some freedom, and maybe I wouldn't want to walk away from it because it wouldn't even feel like I'm in something to walk away from.
Right. Yeah. Well, when you're ready to look at the catamarans more, let me know. I have a girlfriend of mine who, where she was on one, went across the Atlantic,
Okay, wow.
and yeah, with her family, and still, did business and, had the satellite and would stop off at different islands and like all kinds of stuff. So she's definitely a person to connect with and how it works and what it was like and all those fun details. So let me know.
Awesome. Will do for sure.
Perfect. So I'm curious to know, like, what does leadership mean to you now and how has it changed?
Yeah, I think that's probably my strongest trait is I've always been a natural leader. And I look at like what is that? Like what is the definition of a natural leader? And I think it's, one that's somebody that's just brutally honest all the time, and the reason you want to be honest with people is to me that leadership is about like building trust. And if I'm sitting there and like lying to you or exaggerating and stuff like that, like, right now you might not know and be like, all right, cool, that makes sense. But like later on, you start realizing, like, hold on a second, David wasn't being honest with me. Well, like the minute that happens, like everything else I say after that, like you're gonna second guess. And like you can't lead people like that. That's not gonna be a good way to lead people because if you don't trust me, you're not really gonna want to do the stuff I say, right? Unless it's like fear based, which you don't want to ever lead fear based. So I just always been like that. My mom, that's one thing I think she gave me is just like always be honest. I think I lied to her a couple times when I was like young, and I think I beat up pretty bad for it. So it was like, don't lie, like always be honest. And then it was cool. So like if I was honest, it was like a free pass. It's like you could go do something wrong, and like if I was honest about it, it's like, all right, well, you're honest about it. I can't be mad at you. I'm like, really, mom? Like I just did that, and you don't, so
Yeah.
she taught me about honesty. And then the next thing is like me, like don't be scared to do the things that you ask other people to do, right? So I think that's super important. Just like I said, like I always wanted to be a business owner and teach people how to sell insurance, but I wasn't going to sit there and like do that from the start. Like I had to go through it, so I could relate to people, and and that's another thing. I lived. I feel like I lived two lives. Dealt with drug addiction for 20 years. Been bankrupt, homeless. And now I do pretty well, and 2013 I got clean, right? So over 10 years clean, 12 years clean. So for me it's like I can relate with any kind of person, and to me like that's kind of leadership I want to relate with you. I want you to trust me, and I want you to know that anything I ask you to do I've been through. And that right there, those three little things just really helped me build a massive team, but like not just a team, like a virtual team.
Yeah.
There's, I mean, I got a lot of agents I've never actually met in person,
Mhm.
and they're just, gung ho about, supporting the mission. They really like what they're doing. Obviously, they have choices to work with anyone else, but they choose to work with me. So that's super cool. And when we do go to events, we hired over 100 agents last month. So it's not like we have the same people all the time, right? I would have met them all by now, but we're always bringing on new people. So we might go to Florida for like an event or do something. So you get to meet more and more people, and it's super cool. But yeah, I think ultimately the one thing that people say is just some no nonsense. I'm always honest, and you know what to expect with me, and I think that's super important. I know I was in the military for a little bit, and some people like you just know what to expect from them. It's like, dude, like either gonna be cool with me or like be mean, like at least like be mean to me all the time or be cool to me all the time. Don't just be cool to me sometimes and mean to me other times. Like look, I rather
Yeah.
know what to expect from people, so that's what I like to give. And I think
Yeah.
as a leader, it's super important for people to understand you.
Now, do your agents also build teams within the
Yeah,
organization? Okay.
yeah.
So, like, what do you want your agents to remember when they're building their teams?
Yeah, the thing I say number one is like be honest all the time at all costs, and I think when you start in sales and building teams and all these things, a lot of times people want to like exaggerate and make things seem easier than they are, and go and buy a expensive car they can't really afford to make someone think, you know what I mean, like all that fake nonsense stuff. I drive a pickup truck, right? I could drive any car that I want, for the most part, but I own a pickup truck. And I think it's super important. Again, just be like real, just be down to earth, just be honest. Let people know like things are going to be hard. Share your hope, share hope with them, share experience with them. Share what you've gone through, like and what they can do, but like be honest. Because if I sit there, I'm like, hey, come work with me. These clients are gonna call you. You're gonna sell five a day. You're gonna make $5,000 a day. You're gonna do it 5 days a week, and you probably make $1 million this year. And like your first week, you're like, dude, this is not what the heck he said. Again, I just lost you. Like, there's nothing else you're gonna believe me about. So I'd rather, be really honest. So that's the thing. So I tell my leaders, I was like, listen, like just be honest at all costs. Like you ain't got to sugarcoat things. Like we have an amazing opportunity. You don't have to exaggerate anything about it. Just be real.
I love it. I love it. In that career forecasting, do you ever see yourself being more of like a public teacher, trainer for taking like your systems and opening it up to business in general, or do you think you'll stay within the agencies?
Yeah, I was actually talking to my team about that a little bit, my marketing team and stuff. And yeah, we want to start, changing my social media presence a little bit more. YouTube, actually, I just switched up on my YouTube where yeah, a lot of it was really insurance related. So I just started doing like a daily vlog as like a business owner. So it's super raw, like uncut. Like I just literally turn the camera on. Like you could see me sitting back down for most of those videos, just holding the little mic. It must really going over like something I learned that day, entrepreneurial related, to reach a broader audience. And then hopefully, do some speaking engagements and stuff like that with stuff, outside of insurance.
I love it. I love it. So, along those lines, because a lot of our audience are business owners in general, what would you say is one action somebody can take today to start turning their knowledge into a scalable system or business?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, everyone wants systems and like, I feel like it's like this like sexy word that everyone uses now is like, scaling in systems, right? It's like everyone wants like, I need to know how to scale. Can you teach me how to scale? Well, Grant Cardone says simple, just 10x that, right? But to me, it's about like looking at your business as a whole. So I always look at my business and this changes, right? So this is going to change as you grow. It's like I look at it and I'm like, all right, what is the bottleneck, right? And you don't have five bottlenecks, you have one bottleneck, right? You have one thing in your business that you have to look at and like what is slowing me down from exponential growth, right? Typically that's what's going to happen when you figure out how to fix that. It's what's going to slow me down from exponential growth. So for instance, when I first started selling insurance, right, I had to get leads. I talked to people selling insurance. What was slowing me down? Well, I had plenty of leads. I couldn't work any more leads. I was working every hour you could possibly work. Like what was slowing me down? Well, duplicating myself was slowing me down. If I had another agent, we could literally work twice as many leads. Twice as many leads would be twice as much production, right? So my business would 100% grow, right? So overnight, basically. So it's like looking at your business and like, what's that one thing that could grow? And then at a point, I was bringing on 250 agents a month. So I'm like, all right, what the heck can I do now we were bringing on so many agents. I was like, all right, well, what if I built a new onboarding system? That like this onboarding system where they'd come on, watch videos, get training, and then it would help them. Well, that onboarding system is going to have a way bigger effect when I hire 2,500 agents in a year versus two. So again, it's always like looking at your business and what is that bottleneck, and then also looking at your business and seeing like what do you have the most leverage with your time. So the time is the commodity, right? That the very limited commodity. So it's like, all right, so if this much time, where am I to get most leverage spending this time? And again, if you're out there like sweeping your sidewalk, it's probably not going to give you the same return on like calling people about the products that you sell, right? To me, like that's something like real fast, like it's going to give you better leverage. So it's like looking at you looking at your business and like, all right, what's the one most important thing? And when you get overwhelmed, same thing. It's like, all right, I'm overwhelmed. I have all these things going on. This has to get done. This has to get done. My inbox is full. I get ready for this podcast, like all these different things, right? And I was here a minute ago. I'm like, all right, what have to get done? Well, I have this podcast in 10 minutes. So let me close everything out and let me double check and read the little the bio on the podcast so I could be prepared for that. That's where the leverage was at that point. So it's like looking at like what's the one thing that you can do right now and put everything else on hold. And then once that's done, it's like, all right, this task is done. Let me evaluate again. What else makes the most sense right now?
I love it. I love it. I can totally see you teaching just a whole full room of entrepreneurs. And you open to having a little fun with me real quick?
Always, always, let's
Okay.
rock.
So if I was, let's say, producing a 2-day workshop for you, where you are teaching your duplication system to other leaders out there. One, what would you call it? And two, what would you say would be the three biggest outcomes you would want people to walk away with?
How to get paid. We would call it how to get paid.
Okay.
And getting paid would be the number one thing you get out of it. The
Yeah.
second one would be not being overwhelmed on doing things that don't get you paid. And the third one is understanding the vision, because a lot of times what an entrepreneur does is they get so caught up in like their spot now, right? The whole point of starting a business is you don't want to like start a business, like, all right, I'm gonna start a business, I'm gonna make X amount of money a year for the rest of my life, right? The point is you want to like start this business, make X amount of money a year. The next year you want to make more money with less effort. And the following year you want to make even more money with even less effort, right? So the third year you put in less effort than you did the first year with more money, right? More money. So it's going to be about like understanding that, because what happens with a business owner is they're like the first year should be like heck, right? Like I had tears in my eyes my first year, the whole year. I had tears in my eyes. I was like, dude, this hurts so much. Um, but like understanding like that was temporary. And what a lot of times people do is they'll let off the gas or they'll stop. They'll just stop. Like because they think like that's what the next 20 years looks like. It's like, no, 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 no. That's just the beginning of the journey. So wherever you're at in your journey is like you're at this spot, but like just understand that that's like a temporary spot. And like the goal is to show you, systems and processes where the income increases and the time and effort used to get that income decreases.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. This has been so much fun, David. I appreciate you being with us today. Before I let you go, any last minute thoughts or takeaways for our audience? And what's the best way for them to connect with you? You mentioned your YouTube channel where you've got a bunch of videos. Any way else?
Yeah, best way to get connected with me would be David Price Official. So that's on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. So very active on all those platforms. So if you have any questions or need anything or want me to speak at your event, just send me a DM in any of those messages. And as far as the takeaway, I always say in everything that I write is at the end is like never settle, right? I see so many people, they just get to this spot and they just like stop there and they settle. And it's you wherever you're at, like you could do more. I mean, look at the stuff that's been accomplished in this world. I mean, it's absolutely amazing what you can accomplish. So just don't settle.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. And for you listening, if this episode gave you the clarity, the courage, or that gut pull to build something bigger, please share it, subscribe, and leave a review. Make sure that you connect with David and see what he's building next. All the links are in the show notes. Until next time, have an outstanding rest of your day. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to the Creating Powerful Impact podcast. If you are a successful coach, speaker, author, or thought leader who would like to be on this program, simply visit creatingpowerfulimpact.com/guest. If you are someone who got something out of this interview, would you please do me a favor and share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on your socials. Also, if you know somebody that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Creating Powerful Impact. I love seeing all of your posts and great guest selections. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and they really mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more about us? Head on over to our website, graceandeaseproductions.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Just look for Grace and Ease Productions on your favorite platform. Thanks for listening.